cannot open a window. We cannot run our air conditioner. This is not an anger issue anymore. It's a health issue. That's why I feel so passionate about this, and I've taken it to the highest levels I can go, because it is not an anger issue. It is not a nuisance. It's a health issue. I've been sick the whole time I've been here. We can't open our windows at night. It's stifling. I don't know how you can say that you haven't had any complaints about this, because everyone I talk to all say they smell it. We had golfers last week on the golf course like this, driving down on the golf course, and the guy goes, "This place stinks." I have not taken this to any media, big media, because this is my property value. I don't want Pine Mountain Lake to have a reputation of stink, sewage, stifling sewage smell every single night, every single night. It's been since last November, so you can't tell me that it comes and it goes. It's every single night consistently. It's from the first hole of the golf course through the 17th, through the 18th, and it's stifling. It's been so hot, we can't even run our air conditioner because the fumes come in the house if we run the air conditioner. I'm on septic. When we first got here, I thought I had all those vents in the ceiling checked. I had my whole septic thing dug up to be inspected and flushed and everything else, thinking that that was the problem. It's not the problem. And I came here a long time ago telling you that it was a problem, so you knew about it a long time ago. We have two friends who are selling their house, not near us, but farther down, because they say they can't take the odor anymore. We went by the front gate the other day, and I said, "How do you guys put up with this at the front gate?" She goes, "It's always like this." I go, "Do you call and complain?" Nothing we can do about it.
That's the issue right there. Excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt. I just want to throw that in there. We understand there's an issue, but until someone contacts us, that's how a complaint gets logged.
I told you last November.
Yes, we have your.
This was a stifling smell, and it's no longer. I'm no longer
I understand,
angry.
but when
it's a health issue now.
I understand,
It's
but
a
when you
health
stated
issue.
that you're not, that you don't believe that we're not getting complaints, that there are not logged complaints.
They're saying one logged complaint.
One logged complaint on that day. Then another week we had 4 logged complaints.
Okay.
So they're getting more.
To get you more logged complaints. But you know what? None of this is going to do any good anyway. Because it's a much bigger issue than just an anger issue, like he says, or a nuisance. It's much bigger than that. Is that we can't even sit on our deck at night, we can't open a window, we can't run an air conditioner because the smell is sickening. It's not just a little bit of an odor, it's a stifling stench, constant throughout the night.
Presentation of the Transparency Certificate of Excellence to Groveland CSD by the California Special District Association.
Great. Well,
welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, board members, staff, community members. Yes, my name is Dane Wadley. I'm the field coordinator for the California Special Districts Association, basically the Special District Association CSDA liaison to Special Districts in Tuolumne County. And here to present the district, as you point out, the District Transparency Certificate of Excellence from our Special District Leadership Foundation, which is the foundation arm of CSDA, which has basically dedicated to promoting excellence in special district governance and operations. And they do that through a couple of ways, but one of them being these various recognition programs, one of them being, of course, the Transparency Certificate of Excellence. So let's just talk a little bit about what the program actually entails. No doubt your staff is quite aware of what all the requirements are and all the check boxes, but just to provide a little context for the board and the community as well. So the The certificate program was created about 6 years ago to basically, again, kind of allow districts to showcase their efforts in transparency, obviously keep in compliance with all the state laws that we as special districts have to follow, but then also to follow the, just best practices as a public agency and, as stewards of taxpayer dollars, et cetera. So there are 3 main subject areas for the program. There's this checklist item. So at the kind of the top end is your basic transparency requirements. So obviously you have your board members having all of your ethics requirements, your ethics training certificates. There's a number of reports you have to file with the state controller's office that you guys have obviously done as well. So a couple of those. Then there's also some website requirements. So of course, having a website, which you guys do through Streamline, which is quite well done. Posting your board meeting schedule, posting your audits, posting your your budgets, all of these things that they're just best practices and/or laws. You've obviously met those as well. And then finally, there's an outreach requirement to that entails the certificate. So it basically entails like having a regular district newsletter, having an annual kind of a public budget hearing for the community to come in and obviously be a part of that process, or doing a community transparency review. So again, you guys have met those requirements. And I think the one other thing I always like to talk about too is that it's not just throwing up a website and you're good to go and you got the transparency certificate. It's quite a rigorous application. A lot of staff work's gone into it. Obviously, support from the board too, making it a priority. And I always tie it to another aspect of CSDA as well. So CSDA does these recognition programs. We have various training programs, which no doubt Pete is one of our board members, and I know many of you on the actual Golden Board are familiar with. But we also do a number of advocacy work on behalf of special districts down in Sacramento. And a lot of the pushback that we get, or the feedback, maybe if you will, from Sacramento is, boy, there's all these special districts out there in small communities, big communities, and are they doing what they're supposed to be doing? Whether it be transparency or following all these laws. And one of the reasons these programs were created by CSDA is to allow districts to basically showcase that they are doing that. And it certainly helps our advocacy efforts when we are, engaged in some of those bills that may be adding new requirements on you. We can, of course, have the data and say, look, our districts are doing what they're supposed to be doing. And in many cases, they're going above and beyond just what, again, the law is. So you're following these best management practices, et cetera. So the transparency, allows for accountability, as I like to point out as well. I make these presentations quite frequently to districts. So I think I'll go ahead and just stop there and do the formal presentation. We have a certificate here, which is good for 2 years.
Can we ask a question?
Absolutely. I'll defer to staff or the board to manage that.
Sure.
How do you choose? Do we get nominated by somebody? Does somebody nominate us, or how do you choose which special district gets this?
Well, no, it's a voluntary thing. So the board basically made it a priority to pursue the certificate, and then of course provided direction to staff who actually did the work of meeting all these checklist items that I kind of started to outline right there.
There's an application. There's an application, and we have to.
Okay.
But we don't pick anybody. You guys decided to do it on your own.
But we didn't pick anybody. It was just they met the requirements, so they get the. So whenever
we applied.
5 districts that do that, they all get the.
Right.
We didn't beat anybody out.
No, yeah.
Okay.
It's an application in terms of being proactive, though, and showcasing the transparency efforts.
Okay. Thank you.
Are you staying for the whole meeting?
I'm not, unfortunately. I have to run around the board meeting with the life of a field coordinator. Yes, but happy to. I apologize for that. Sure.
Thank you.
Very good. And then on behalf of that, let's take a couple pictures if you don't mind. On behalf of the board and the staff of the Special District Leadership Foundation, pleased to present Groveland CSD with our District Transparency Certificate of Excellence. Thank you.
Okay, guys, he wants to.
I'd love to do a picture, yeah, if you don't mind. Right? So you guys earned it. So.
Yeah, so we're kind of packed in here.
Right. So
actually,
short frame.
The staff earned it.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't do anything about it. Awesome staff.
There's a lot we did.
Yes, that's
Pretty backlight.
That's right. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Amy.
Something to be proud of.
Can you hand that down to Jennifer,
Yes.
please?
It's like the Super Bowl.
Yes.
As
On
you-
to Disneyland. We're going to
This was a
Disneyland.
year-long effort, it really was.
Awesome.
And it's, it's definitely shows that staff has the ability to pull all this stuff together, and it's not just a simple checklist like Dane said of throwing a website up, and it's multi-dimensional, a lot of effort, and we're dedicated to it, and we'll keep it up, make it better all the time.
Thank you, Mr. Camden. Thank you, Jane,
Thank
for
you.
coming up today.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, we would like to open public comment, please. Members of the public are appreciated for taking the time to attend this meeting and provide comments on matters of district business. Public comments are subject to a 3-minute time limit, 10 minutes on an individual topic. Although no action can be taken on items not listed on the agenda, please know that we are listening carefully to your comments. So, anybody would like to start? Yes. Okay, I'm
I
sorry.
would like to publicly say that I want to thank Rachel for her gardening efforts. I've been trying to get the front of this place to look good for years. Rachel, this is yours.
Oh, my gosh. Thank you, Rachel.
Yes, it does.
It's got a Velcro thing to put on. Thank you.
Number one gardener.
I didn't know people could turn quite that red.
Okay.
Yard does look.
The next.
It does.
It does, it looks beautiful.
Yes, yes,
They
Maureen.
have also put a ton of work into the gardening as well. They're like the gardening team.
Yes,
so.
they do a great job.
When do you want to come up to Merrill?
Wait a minute, you said Renee? Renee?
Renee.
Where's Renee?
Oh, she got two.
Renee! Renee, come get your medal.
Why do embarrass Renee, Rachel?
Yeah.
Aren't you?
For gardening efforts. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Okay, yes.
I'm out of here.
Maureen.
I have two things I'd like to bring up. One is I would like the board to really consider reinstating the Finance and Budget Committee, because in the era of transparency, I, as a constituent, personally, I would like to know more about the budget and be able to ask questions in a different kind of venue.
Okay, thank
So,
you.
and
Good.
Good. Just become a little bit more enlightened regarding, it just seems like we've got a lot of expenses, and I want to know how we're going to pay for all of that.
Okay,
I would like it too, thank you.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were a couple of, okay.
Okay, moving on to the general manager's report.
So I've got a summary of some of the activities in the packet. It's in addition to a brief presentation I want to give on our technology that we have implemented. So I've got a little bit of detail on that in my written document here, the GIS site. And like I said, I'll get into that a little bit more. We continue to work on our social media presence, and the part of the reason for writing this particular report was just to make sure that the board understands that we're not going to be able to address every single thing that comes up on social media. It's just impossible. We have to have somebody responding 24/7 to things, and we do our best, but sometimes it starts to head in a direction that there's no informing the end result, and it just continues to grow. So we'll provide factual information about what's going on to the best that we can, and then the goal is to fully implement our communications plan, which is more information about what we're doing, how we're spending the money, and getting that out to the public. Because we're doing a lot, and I hope I'm not wearing these folks out too much. But Janice, when we get to director's reports, I think I'll let you talk about the meeting with the Butte County Sheriff.
Okay.
But I included a couple of points that were very, very moving to me on this discussion. That I always thought that we, the district, had to prepare and plan and replan and do everything we could for every potential situation. And in a case like this, it really doesn't matter. I mean, you plan, you get organized, you provide the right tools, the right safety training, but in a situation like what occurred in Paradise, it was amazing to hear that what they had to go through to get people to actually get out, and then all of the thinking that came associated with that, and there are things that we can do to plan for the future in identifying certain populations and coming up with plans to communicate with them and get them motivated and out, and that's part of what Chief Murphy and I have been working on, and what he's working on with these community events. So a lot of good stuff going on there. With the active transportation plan, we had a good meeting here in Groveland, pretty well attended, I think, and it's really, I put a link in this report because there's a survey that the county has out there that's active, and unfortunately it hasn't had a lot of input from Groveland in the past, so the reports are not very accurate in my opinion. I mean, they're good, it's a good report, but it takes people getting in and saying, hey, we need this. And so because we're hearing a lot in our park facility planning about trails and active activities for the public, this is becoming a logical nexus for us to be involved in now in some way. Those of you who have been on the board for a while, the electronic sign board is coming back up. Finally, after 5 years of working with SFPUC, they have proposed an agreement, a really lengthy agreement actually, for just putting up a signboard, but it is a collaborative relationship between the district, the Tacoma County Transportation Commission, and the park and the community, Yosemite National Park and the community, to provide information to the traveling public as they come up from the grade about what's going on, primarily with the park, or if there are any road closures or anything. For example, when they had the closure the other day and the detour, that would have been, hopefully, whoever is managing that message would be able to get in and get that information in there actively. And so that's a really good project. The only thing we're offering up here is the access to the easement that we have on Hetchy land. So it's really not a financial investment on the part of the district as much as it is just a relationship with the Transportation Commission. So that it's going to take another couple steps. The agreement will come before the board, so you'll hear about it again, and we'll talk more about the logistics of that sign going in. We're preparing a memorandum of agreement with the TCTC, the Transportation Council, to outline what the responsibilities are with that, who has access to it, how you do it, maintenance, repair, light bulbs, those kind of things. And then just to let you know that Joe Palace extended an invitation for the district to present at the August 24th PML board meeting. I'm not sure if it's the board meeting or the town hall meeting or both. But they'd like for us to address sewer system odors, and those types of things. So I just want to let you know that that is on the agenda. So I'll do this real quick, and then we'll take questions. Okay, can you get the light real quick, right? Okay, but oh, we're gonna.
Everybody does it, okay.
It's a little better contrast on my screen, but I guess you can see it. Okay, so I think everybody's pretty familiar with what this looks like, what the terrain in Groveland. This is our agreement with California CAD Solutions that the board authorized. They develop and host an internet-based GIS site. So they take our geographic information system data and host it. You'll see that a lot of entities are going in that direction. The county has it on a number of their areas of responsibility. For example, the zoning maps and that kind of stuff are hosted in this type of a platform in-house primarily. We don't have the internal expertise to be maintaining GIS sites and manipulating the software. That would take engineering staff and technology staff that we don't have. So we have a contract with California CAD Solutions to display this. It's extremely helpful. And we have a number of steps left to get it fully functional, primarily because a lot of our data was either damaged or missing or encrypted and not fixed. And this was when we had a cyber attack years ago. And many of our engineering files were incomplete. They just weren't, the data wasn't finished out. So we're going to be doing some field verification on things, exactly where lines are located, exactly where hydrants are located. Let me give you an example here. So we've got, basically with this, we have a street view, we have a satellite view, and we have a hybrid view. I like to use the hybrid view. It's basically a Google Earth image, but it's got a lot of data on it. And then there's also a terrain view, which gives you the topography, which is really helpful in a number of things. For example, this is showing that we're way up here on top of the hill. We're not. We're right here at the base of, I don't know if you can see my mouse, bouncing around. So I'm going to go back to the street view, and I'm going to add in, we've got district boundaries and the sphere of influence. So those are where our statutory district boundaries are established by LAFCO, and then the sphere of influence is the dotted line. Okay, so that's just an anticipated growth area out to that line. It's nothing magical. What's interesting is this hole in the middle. That is, those are owned by Pine Mountain Lake. They were BLM land, and it was not unusual when a district is formed, they exclude the BLM land as a hole in the middle. And so when it transitioned to PML, it never got cleaned up in any of the 8 annexations that we've had over the years. So we'll likely be doing, it was interesting to see all this stuff together because it showed that, and it also showed, I'm going to add in the district parcels. The district-owned parcels would come up in a brownish color. You can see that even some of our parcels, our big parcel here is outside the district boundaries. I mean, it shouldn't be, but it is. So that's something we will likely do in a cleanup annexation. But this was helpful because we wanted to know where tank parcels were, where our all of our facilities were for the purpose of planning park improvements and different things. So that's really helpful. And then there is, I can add in, and this is a really beneficial part of this, is you've got all of the parcels, every single assessor's parcel in, and I'll zoom in just so that you can get an idea about it. This is all of the assessor's parcels, and we can select individual parcels and get a report on it, gives you information about it, or we can select multiple parcels at a time and get a report on, for example, if we wanted to get all of those parcels at a single time, that gives us all the information about each of those properties, their AP, their mailing address, their physical address, and it's been really helpful in our day-to-day lives. It's also helpful to do that and then take a look at it in the hybrid view, and you can actually see things like extensive landscaping in certain areas. Call it invasive, whatever it is, it's everywhere. It's not something, we don't generate these images of people's properties, it's Google Earth. So it's publicly available information to be able to see this stuff. One thing that we are working on right now is getting the parcel lines aligned a little bit better with reality, because the Parcel Quest information, and Parcel Quest is the company we go through for these parcels, throughout the county of Tuolumne, they've got some errors with the way the properties align. So we don't use that to say, wow, this is off of our property or off of somebody else's property. It's really just a representation that we're getting, Parcel Quest is getting more accurate with. Okay. But it shows us where all of the properties are. So I'm going to add in the sewer system. And so this will, and I'm going to go back to the street view because it's a pretty green image there. So that shows all of the sewer system. It gives you a flow arrow. My mouse is really touchy. So anyway, these are manholes. That is the flow. Shows where they're located. Shows where it'll show the lift stations as a square. Forced mains have a different color than they're a lighter green than the gravity mains. And these are things that, as we go around from each one of those 500 manholes throughout the communities and get a GPS location, that will realign these to exact locations in the street.
That's awesome.
So that's going to take us a little bit of time to get it exactly accurate, but for the field guys on their iPad, they can go right in and see where a valve is, where a hydrant is.
Just a quick question. So you could probably set this up with all the shutoffs for the hydrants for the fire department.
They are.
That's awesome.
I'm going to take the sewer out. I'm going to drop the water
That's
in.
a real pain when you have to look.
So, unfortunately, okay, unfortunately, a lot of this data was, like I said, it wasn't, it's files that nobody has looked at in over a decade. They've just been stuffed into a scan file on the server, and we're recreating all of that. And this is the most accurate information that we have currently. For example, that's a shutoff valve right there that you can see. So it shows the approximate location. We'll GPS it, and then it'll be an exact location. There's fire hydrants. We're coming up with a numbering system for those. So, I mean, just a lot of really useful data.
Yeah.
And again, this is throughout the system on both water and sewer. We can also do reports with this if we want to know, for example, if we want to have a report about the sewer structures, that it's not, like you said, it has not been verified completely. at this point. Sewer's not as easy as water. Water's more accurate. This just came online, but it tells the number of lineal feet of each size pipe. And so we know exactly how much pipeline we've got in the system. Really good stuff. This is what we wanted to display. We wanted to be able to add this. We can add. We'll be putting in layers that show, so that we can do, when Louis does his operations report, he'll be able to show you that we flushed this area, we cambered this area, those types of things. Really easy to just be able to focus in on an area. If we run into problems, we can identify those.
Can we put in water breaks, areas where we've had water breaks, so you can add information to that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and also then that can generate a report, so you can highlight an area and identify the number of water breaks within a certain area. If you start to notice that you're seeing more in a single location or vicinity, then it might be time to do a service line replacement project or something.
Cool.
Seems like the longer you work with this, the better it's going to get. As you add, the more accurate it'll get. It seems like a really neat system. I like that.
It's
that would be really awesome.
Functional. And we can also, as we get the GPS information and get that put in and things realigned, we can produce maps, updated maps that if we want to carry paper maps, we don't really need to carry paper maps once this is all displayed. We've got the as-built drawings, but
So does Parcel Quest generate these parcel pictures by actually reading the parcel descriptions, or are they just overlaying something that they got from someplace else?
It's an overlay.
So this is just like the Pinon Lake parcel map overlay or something?
I don't know that I can answer the technical questions about how they do it.
Well, I mean, because one obvious way to, if you wanted to be 100% accurate, is you would go through and for every parcel description has got this many feet with this angle, blah, 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 and then draw that in. But have they actually done that, or is this just something that they've acquired from somebody else who maybe did that?
I think there are more pictures than they are scaled. Exactly. It's more of just. I just can't.
Well, I'm just thinking because it would be nice. It would be nice to eventually be able to have things on there like easements. But until they actually have the proper parcel there, the easement is going to be kind of pointless until the parcel representation is accurate.
Right.
Well, one of the things CalCAD, because CalCAD is different from Parcel Quest. Parcel Quest is a company that CalCAD used to lay these parcels on top. And one thing that they have stated is that the county has better more accurate information than Parcel Quest has in certain areas. So they're obviously not taking, Parcel Quest isn't taking the exact legal descriptions on a parcel boundary when they're doing that. That's what that goes to tell me, considering that.
Right. So I figured that's the case because it would be an awful lot of work for them to have just generated it this quickly. Are they planning to do that? Eventually we need this. If this is going to be fully useful, the information has to be accurate.
And the answer is yes. As of each week I've been having conversations with CalCAD, who's in communication with Parcel Quest, and they're making adjustments as we see areas that are out of alignment. For example, if you look at our district boundaries, it was established to align with parcel boundaries, assuming. Because you can see that these are off just a little bit. Between the white line is the apparent parcel boundary, and the red line is the map from LAFCO. And obviously this is intended to move up and left, and that would be the alignment. But that's a Parcel Quest issue, because you can see that it obviously cuts. It's not following the properties exactly, unless a lot of people go over the line. But anyway, but it's definitely, it's close enough for what we're doing right now, but we are going to be getting that alignment better, and we are going to put our easements in there as we have. For example, when we do the water sewer project, we will have legal descriptions that can then be, with a map that can be generated and inserted in here. So we have accurate
Okay,
survey
so it's
maps.
not, all right, so it's going to be a while.
I don't know, I'll let you know when the county, when Parcel Quest gets the county dialed in, and they're working on it right now.
Okay.